What up, YouTube? What's good? We're going to just hop into this recording. Give the people what they want. Give the people what they want. Check, check, check. I think we in here. Uh-oh. How about we do that? Outline. Ready to go. What day we doing? Day 10. Check me for show. Low key, the drawing strength in one is good, but I wish it had the palm crushing like believe bigger. But I like it. All right. Let's get it popping. What up, crew? What's good? It's your girl Sade, and I am hyped about another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. And I don't know why I say my name because the intro says it for me. Yes, thank you for tuning in, guys, for another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. As always, I'm super uber excited to hop into it with you guys every week right here on the Crew Book Club podcast. I love my name. Not my name per se, but the book club name for the pod. I'm just elated. I'm just happy. I'm excited. So, what up, crew? What is good with you all? How are you really feeling today? As I always say, if you ain't feeling it, it's okay. Hopefully, tuning into the pod will get you hyped and ready to go after this episode. Mondays. If you're going to start a Monday off right, you might as well start it off with the crew. Okay? All right. So, we're going to hop into chapter 7 and 8 of Atomic Habits. Chapter 7, The Secret of Self-Control. Y'all have self-control? I constantly have to teach myself self-control daily. Woo, okay. Chapter 8, How to Make a Habit Irresistible. Truly irresistible. It's a rock song. I can't think of the name right now. But the melody is in my head. You ever have a song melody in your head, but you can't sing it out in that moment? Or I know I want to know people, I could turn any word into a song. Like you could just break out into a song. We talk about chips, potato chips, potato chips. I'm going to eat some chips. I'm going to eat some chips. Are y'all? No? Okay. Anywho, let's just get into it and waste no time because we ain't got time to waste. Time is money. It is who gonna check me, boo? God is, and he is always checking us. And we welcome a good chizek because it keeps us in line with his will, right? So coming from day 10 in the Joy and Strength, 100 Days of Joy and Strength devotional journal, it talks about tuned in. That's the title. And the scripture comes from Ephesians Chapter 5, verse 16, it reads, make good use of every opportunity you have because these are evil days. Wow. Y'all, the Bible don't age. The characters do, but the stories, the principles of the Bible do not. Are we not in evil days? Do you not see it, live in it? Woo, I know I don't even watch the news because I feel like the news definitely be fear-mongering off of everything, play on your emotions, and keep you living in fear. This is why tuning in with Christ and being in his presence is so important, and why he has to check me regularly to not get caught up on what's happening in the world that we live in, okay? I am in this world, honey, but I am not of it. Don't ever get it twisted. All right, so the key points that hit for me was the author saying, it's important that we invest in the right things, not all things. For me, the right things come down to what deepens my relationship with God, what benefits my family, and what I'm called to do. I agree with you, Candace. Same here. Whatever benefits my family, and most importantly, what I'm called to do, by God, that is where every choice that I make surrounds. Like, those are what I'm checking off before I do anything. She says here, God always seems to take care of the rest, don't he? Some people, you are called to some things and you're like, well, I don't know if I'm able to do this, or what if I don't get the funding, or what if nobody supports me? Oh my God, what I'm gonna do, but I know this is my calling. If you know and trust that God is calling you to do that, he will take care of the rest, all right? But he needs to see you do something. You gotta take a step. You have to take a step. And he gonna give you the renewed energy and the resources and surround you with the people, places, things, all of that to be able to fulfill his calling. But you gotta take the first step. Okay? It also states here, does this make sense of us, for us? If it can't be kept in balance, it will mess with our established priority. Then it needs to be a no. She even puts this side note, because a lot of times we talk ourselves out of what we're called to do because it don't make sense to us. But she says a challenging investment or a step of faith that may cause fear does not mean it falls into the safety net of a no. Okay? All right. It also says, ultimately, my hope and trust in God keep me believing that for every no, there's something else around the corner that will better fit. You can trust that God is at work when he asks you to wait on him for the next right thing. Whew, yes, I know a lot of times we get into business and you get a lot of no's, and you're going to get a lot of no's before you get a lot of yeses. But just keep pushing, because the more no's you get, the closer you are to the yes. All right, so that was the Who Gon' Check Me Boo. He is always checking us, and that comes from the 100 Days of Joy and Strength by Candace Cameron Bure, and I will have the link in show notes to order the journal as well, okay? All right, so just know that Atomic Habits is on audible.com, and if you're not like, I don't know if I'm gonna like Audible, trust me, I understand. I like to have the book right in my hand, but everybody don't have the time to sit and read the book and do all of that, or even want to. So definitely go to the show notes or click on the audibletrial.com/crewlove, and you will get 30 days of a premium experience. I mean, they have wellness programs, theatrical performances, comedy. They have so much more to offer than just books. So check it out for the free in partnership with Audible and the crew, okay? If you go to the website and click the promo code, just type in Crew Love. That's easier for you. All right, now, hey, thank you. Shout out for the love. You guys are really bomb at showing love. And it's just even more personable when you guys actually go onto the Apple Podcast platform and leave reviews. I really appreciate it. Our last review comes from King HP. It says, I can't get enough of this podcast. Keep doing your thing! ! And the subject title was dope. Yes, dope 5 stars and simple and sweet comment. It wasn't all extra. So thank you for tuning in and listening to the Crew Book Club podcast. I really, really appreciate the reviews and the 5-star rating. Okay. So thank you so much. All right. Now let's get into this chapter 7. The hardest thing sometimes, y'all, be our own self, having self-control. So let's tap into it. On page 92, it tells us recent research, however, shows something different. And it talks about what we thought self-control was. But instead, it says disciplined people are better at structuring their lives in a way that does not require heroic willpower and self-control. In other words, they spend less time in tempting situations. It's easier to practice self-restraint when you don't have to use it very often. So, yes, perseverance, rewind. It's easier to practice self-restraint when you don't have to use it very often. So yes, perseverance, grit, and willpower are essential to success, but the way to improve these qualities is not by wishing you were a more disciplined person, but by creating a more disciplined environment. Did we not talk about our last episode 27, Curate the Space, about making sure we're in the environment that's going to help build up our new selves? Yes. Like the example I said, don't drive by the place you like to shop all the time. Take a scenic route. Or, if you trying to get off alcohol, don't go to the club. Don't go to a lounge where everybody, we getting drinks and apps. Like, no. Maybe take a break from that until you can get more disciplined with yourself naturally. So remove yourself from those environments that's going to possibly cause you to trip and fall. And if you do go to that environment and you find yourself tempted, walk away, leave, drive separately so you're not depending on waiting on people. Remove the alcohol from your house and let people know, set the boundary. I'm not drinking right now. So don't invite me. Well, invite me, but be willing enough to say, well, I'm not going to come because of this, that, and the other. And if somebody tells you that, support them in that. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, I really like the perspective of that. Now, it also states here on page 93, a habit is formed in the brain. I told y'all, it's a science to this thing. And when you can recognize the science to it all, you can kind of help fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or no, okay, I can recognize this is happening. Let me pivot. It says, once a habit has been encoded, the urge to act follows whenever environmental cues reappear. This is one reason behavior change techniques can backfire. Shaming obese people with weight loss presentations can make them feel stressed, and as a result, many people return to their favorite coping strategy, overeating. If you're not careful about cues, you can cause the very behavior you want to stop. I didn't even think about this way. It's kind of like if someone is stressing and stress is the result of them overeating, why beat them down about it? You know what I'm saying? Why constantly try to present them? Instead of you telling somebody all the time, oh, you need to walk, you need to do this, hey, I'm going to the gym. Just want to know if you wanted to come along with me. Like, finding different ways so you won't be stressing them out, and it cues those behaviors. Okay? So it also gave another example about smoking. Showing pictures of blackened lungs to smokers lead to higher levels of anxiety, which drives many people to reach for a cigarette. So don't put people into that mood. Or if you're the person who feels that energy, be like, thank you so much for your concern, but let's change the subject in the conversation. And if they get upset with you about that, then maybe that's somebody you should be talking to in the first place. All right? So that was on page 93. Now, on 94, it talks about this. A more reliable approach to cut bad habits off at the source. Eliminate a bad habit is to reduce exposure to the cue that causes it. So, for example, if you can't seem to get any work done, leave your phone in another room for a few hours. Y'all, you and whoever calling will be okay. And all y'all people like, well, I keep my phone on for my kids. Okay, put them in the favorites category, put it in another room. And if they call, cool, go answer. But before you even do that, text them and say, hey, only call me for the next hour if it's an emergency because I'm trying to get some things done. Respect, but you got to let people know what you're doing so they can be able to support your new boundaries and help you build your habits, all right? Another example, if you're continually feeling like you're not enough, stop following social media accounts that trigger jealousy and envy. Sometimes the intent, like for example, I post my body post-workout to motivate people. Now, if you envy that, you might take it like, why she always got to post something with her body, da-da-da-da-da. That's on you, because my intent is good. My intent is to motivate you to get into the gym. And let me tell you, I don't always post the most flattering ones, okay? But the thing is, I can't help what you receive it as. My intent is good. Just like people yachting and being on boats, if that's really their lifestyle, you can't be mad at it. And if you're mad at it, jealous and envy, just unfollow, because mentally you're not there yet to be able to handle seeing all of that. You got to do what's best for you. All right? And I know I ain't jealous, I ain't envying, but y'all are. Remember, you got to keep it real with yourself before you can keep it real with anybody else. And the moment you start keeping it real with yourself, you're going to be able to self-reflect and grow. All right? Self-mother-freaking awareness. All right? Okay, so a last example I'll give is if you're spending too much money on electronics, quit reading reviews of the latest tech gear. Now, for me, it's clothes and shoes. So I unfollow a lot of the people that inspired my fashion. I've had to unsubscribe from department stores and brands that was 20% off. The end of the year sale. Oh, you got this many points. Shop, shop, shop. Because I knew I was trying to save money. I was trying to become better at spending and not buying a whole bunch of clothes and stuff that's not geared towards my podcast or my real estate business, right? So learning how to, that's another part of curating your environment to make so you can know those cues so you won't be triggered to those old bad habits. All right. So that was the biggest ones in chapter 7 that hit me. And that was the end of the first law. Make it obvious. Those were chapters 4 through 7. So we're going to get into the second law. Make it attractive. Yes, make it attractive. And those are chapters 8 through 10. And today we're going to get into chapter 8. How to make a habit irresistible. Oh gosh, I can't. You know what song I'm trying to sing. If you don't, I love music. But it used to be on a commercial in a movie. Truly irresistible. If you get it, please DM me that song because I cannot think of it. All right. Okay, so how to make a habit irresistible. That's this. It's part of the second law called make it attractive. If it's pretty, we'll do it. And I was about to make another kind of joke, but use your imagination. All right, so page 104 to get into chapter 8. These are some key points off rip that popped out to me. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit forming. Society is filled with highly engineered versions of reality that are more attractive than the world our ancestors evolved in. Child, our ancestors probably laughing at us. Because when we stress about it, they're probably like, man, we had to figure out food, shelter, and all those other things. And y'all sit here worrying about social media likes and extravagant vacations. You know what I'm saying? It talks about it. Social media delivers more likes and praise in a few minutes than you could ever get in an office or at home. Photoshop edits even models doesn't look like the person in the final image. These are super normal stimuli of our modern world. Okay? This stuff that we stressing over, and the thing is like people be doing all this stuff to their body, and the person that you trying to look like didn't even naturally get that way. Time to say, oh, I'm committed to working out. No, they was committed to their BBLs, and then they started working out. And these people got money to keep up with chefs and all of that, and eating and all of that, and that body every 10 years, you got to replace the breast and yada, yada, yada. Like y'all, it's too much. You know, it says we have the brains of our ancestors, but temptations they never face, which is so true. If you want to increase the odds that a behavior will occur, then you need to make it attractive. It says we begin by examining the biological signature that all habits share, the dopamine spike. You guys know what dopamine means? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter made in your brain. It plays a role of the reward center and in many body functions, including memory, movement, motivation, mood, attention, and more. Okay? It says here on page 105, scientists can track the precise moment a craving occurs by measuring a neurotransmitter called the dopamine. Okay, so we're not all walking around with transmitters on, right? But you know what gets you excited and makes you happy. All right? The ability to experience pleasure remains, but without dopamine, desires died. And without desire, action stopped. This made me think, are your desires big enough and desirable enough to put the action in and to keep going? That's what I thought when I was reading that. Okay, it also says on page 106, habits are dopamine-driven feedback loop. That means it's a constant thing. It's happening over and over again. It plays a central role in many neurological processes, including motivation, learning, and memory, punishment, and voluntary movement. Whenever you predict that in a moment will be rewarding, an opportunity will be rewarding, your levels of dopamine spike in anticipation. And whenever dopamine rises, so does your motivation to act. Is it an anticipation of the reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action? The anticipation. You ever met somebody be like, well, I did all of this and I thought I would be fulfilled and I'm not? It wasn't even about that. It was about the anticipation of the reward. Scientists refer to this as the difference between wanting and liking. And this made me think of this. How bad do you want it? Or do you just like it a lot because everybody else is doing it? I.e., podcasting is like the new thing. And I know you're probably like, well, you just got in it and you doing it, but this is hard work. I meet a lot of people, oh, I want to be a podcaster. Oh, I want to be a real estate agent. Da-da-da-da-da. Then they get it, they're like, oh, snap, what was I thinking? And I asked, well, why did you do it? Well, it seemed lucrative and it made a lot of money. The purpose has to be bigger than that. The purpose has to go to the point where if I'm not making a lot of money, I'ma still do it. If I'm not making no money at all, I'ma still do it. And those are the things that I chose to do as an entrepreneur that comes easy to me. And I feel like God blessed me with this because he gives me the energy to want to do it. Okay? So just think about before you decide to do something and to pour money into it and to pour yourself into it. Are you doing it because you want to? Or are you doing it because you like it and everybody else is doing it? Your why has to be big enough, okay? It has to be beyond the money and beyond you, all right? So that was really good. And going into it, it says this as well on page 108. Desire is the engine that drives behavior. Every action is taken because of the anticipation that precedes it. It is the craving that leads to the response. This is where strategy known as temptation bundling comes into play. Yes, so good. How to use temptation bundling to make your habits more attractive. Listen to this on page 108. We may not have, go back. Let me read this story before I even make this statement. Ronan Bryant, an electrical engineer, enjoyed watching Netflix, and he concocted this machine that allowed him for him to watch TV. He had to be pedaling because he wanted to exercise. So he made a machine, as long as he was going at a certain speed, that's how he would binge Netflix. So binging for pounds. That's how I looked at it. And the thing is, like, we may not have a fancy engineering degree to construct our TV to run based on how many cycles we are rolling, but maybe you binge watch TV while working out. I know when I work out, I take a book and I read while I'm on the elliptical. I know in Planet Fitness, they have TVs aligned. So if you want to watch TV, how about you be on a treadmill or the bike while you're watching it? But this is where the self-discipline and control and boundaries with self have to come in. If you're not pedaling, then you need to not be watching. Okay? There's no excuse, y'all. I don't want to hear nobody say, well, I don't have a bike or electrical equipment or gas high. I can't make it to the gym. You don't want it bad enough. Because if you wanted it bad enough, you wouldn't be finding excuses not to do it. Okay? Trust me. I've been there. I've been a person who didn't take accountability for self. I always found it as being someone else's fault. But every day I make a choice. And every day you got to make a choice. You just got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when you come up with excuses, that tells me you ain't sick and tired. And you didn't find every other way to dig yourself out of something that you're in that you don't want to be in. Take accountability of your life. Take accountability of your choices. I'm done. Okay. Oh, I felt that. All right. So listen. The brilliance of this strategy is the ABC was associating the thing that is needed viewers to do. Oh, I got so excited saying that last little statement. I forgot how cool this was. This is how everything is so programmed for us. Y'all remember Thank God It's Thursday by ABC when Scandal and all of that was coming on to Sandra Land. And think about when the last time you had popcorn and red wine. I used to do that all the time when the Sandra thing came on. The Sandra Thank God It's Thursday with Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder. It was like grab the popcorn, grab the wine. But y'all know that was a strategy for ABC. They associated what the viewers needed with activities they wanted to do, which was relax, drink wine, and have popcorn. So y'all, everything is strategic, okay? And we're the consumer and we fall for that shit. Oh, excuse my French. But we fall for it and we gotta stop falling for it. But now that you recognize it, we can kind of back out falling for those things because we're building new habits. Yay, yay, yay. All right, so try this exercise called habit stacking and temptation building. But I think I want to make that the challenge of the week. So let's do that. All right, so I know y'all probably like, Sade, you is coming for me in this episode. Y'all, I'm not coming for y'all. I'm coming for myself. All right. I literally record the podcast looking in the camera screen for my YouTubers to post the video. But I literally be talking to myself. What's the gospel song? Encourage me while I encourage others. Like, that's what I be feeling like I'm doing. And that's why I love coming over here doing this podcast. All right. So y'all know this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And I can't even tell you how much BetterHelp has helped me. Like, I don't have to use any gas to go to the therapist. And when I'm ready to switch over and choose, I can. And I don't have to do new paperwork. I just click, find a new therapist. Oh, that didn't work. Find a new therapist. I save time. I literally go in my car in the garage and close the door because my child, she nosy. But I love how BetterHelp is so easy and accessible. And y'all, you get 10% off your first month. And you probably like, well, it's so expensive. BetterHelp has, you can apply for like hardships or scholarships. That way, if you can't afford the prices they're there to help you. That's why it's called BetterHelp. Okay? So I highly suggest you guys get the therapy sessions going. Even if you don't think you need it. If you ain't tried it, you don't know. So don't tell me, I don't need therapy. You ain't tried it. So BetterHelp is partnered up with the Crew Book Club, the sponsor of this episode. Check it out. BetterHelp.com/crewlove. That's better, HELP.com/crewlove. Y'all, I don't recommend things I do not use. Trust and believe. All right. I care about y'all. All right. The same as these challenges. Every challenge that I give you, I do it. So I know it works if you work it. It works if you work it. Put the third down, flip it, and reverse it. Okay, so the challenge of the week is shake it and bundle it. Okay, and I ain't talking about weave. All right, I'm talking about habits. So listen, I need y'all to do that. It's called the habit stacking plus temptation building formula. Okay, so after a current habit, do a habit needed, or after a habit needed, do a habit I want. Okay, check this out. Comparison. After I get a morning coffee, I will say one thing I'm grateful for that happened yesterday. That's the need, right? You want coffee, but you need the gratitude and the gratefulness, right? Or you could try it this way. After I say one thing I'm grateful for, I will read the news. You don't need to look at the news. You want to look at the news, but you need the gratification, to be grateful for those things, right? Check this out. After I get back from my lunch break, I will call 3 potential clients, or after I call the potential clients, I will check ESPN. Checking ESPN is a one, all right? For me, I'm going to call 3 of my previous real estate customers to check in with them and say hi. After I do that, then I'm going to stroll on social media for fun or watch a 30-minute episode of a show. Okay? Or try this. After I pull out my phone, I would do 10 burpees. After I do the 10 burpees, I would check Facebook. So try either one that works for you. For me, I feel like I like the habit I need than the habit I want. So definitely doing my calls and then going on social media for fun or watching television, 1 episode only. And then, or maybe the fitness, maybe I bust out them 10 burpees and then I go on my social media or watch a show. So try those habit stacking plus temptation building formulas. So I'm going to need y'all to stack it and bundle it up. All right. So that was the challenge of the week. Okay. So now let's get into what would the crow do? Y'all, last week's scenario was so good. I hope I helped you answer it. And if you're like, oh, what was it? It's literally the last episode, episode 27, curate your space. And whoever wrote that, please let me know how that go. If Buddy moved in with you and if y'all had those financial conversations. But anyway, this week is some advice. And it came from a crew member via IG. It says, no matter how many times I try to change my habits, I always result back into my old ones. What do you think I should do? You talking to the originator of going back and forth, circling loops with my habits, good or bad or whatnot. So I really realized, which we touched on in the book in our last episode about curating the environment, that is major. And I know some people are like, well, I'm a mom, I have kids. I had someone ask about that. If you want it bad enough, you will change it. But sometimes your new way, people are not used to. So sometimes you got to put people on pause until you're ready to talk to them, because maybe they're the cue that triggers the bad behavior. And they could be friends, family, partners. And if they're not in agreement with your new changes, then tell them, I need a few until I can get right. And if they live with you, you are going to have to practice willpower and strategically doing things that benefit you. And let them know, do not take this offensive. I'm really trying to change. And I know it's hard, but you also are going to have to do things without your partner or your kids. Like sometimes I'll tell Audrey, like my daughter, listen, stay in the house. You good? If you ain't bleeding from the eyes and mouth, do not come bothering me, because I'm about to go on this patio and I'm about to bust out 45 minutes of working out. And she might, in the beginning, Audrey used to cry and be all up in my face. Now that girl come out, oh, mommy working out, mommy reading a book. I'm going to leave her alone. And it takes time and discipline to do that. But this is for you. A better you is better for everybody else. Okay? So you're going to have to be a little selfish. And some people, oh, you selfish. Like, okay, and I'm selfish because I'm doing things for me and not the way you want them to be done. Then if that's selfish, then I'll take it. All right? So that was What Would the Crew Do? Ask advice. You can always DM the Crew Book Club on Instagram. We're on Fanbase. We're on YouTube. You can even email the Crew Book Club at gmail.com. I am not hard to find. You can literally Google me, the Crew Book Club, and I will pop up. Okay, so let's not leave this episode without giving you the quote of the week. How? The quote of the week is, first, forget inspiration. Habit is more dependable. Habit will sustain you whether you're inspired or not. And that was by the great Octavia Butler. All right, y'all. I need y'all to go out there, still be inspiring, but your habit is more dependable. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Love y'all. See y'all next week right here on the Crew Book Club podcast. Hey.